What is up, everybody? WitherWords back here, ready to rock and roll. We're heading into Anor Londo. First, we got to go through Sen's Fortress, and we're going to kick it off and get through it fast because we have a lot of stuff to get through. First thing first, we're going to Firelink Shrine. We're going to pick up this item here. This used to be the Firekeeper. It no longer is. I'm not going to explain the story to that, but if you're interested, there is a story behind it. And you can pretty much gather it while you play the game. That's one of the few quests that really has a story to it. We ran through Firelink Shrine. We went over to the place where that pool used to be. We have a new NPC here. His name is Kingseeper Framped.
I am pleased to see you well.
And I find the voice quite humorous when it's sped up a bit. Once you go through the initial conversation with him, you can feed him items. Which I'm going to do here because there's a lot of items I have that are PvP items that I don't really need since I'm playing offline. I don't recommend using the Firekeeper Soul with him. I was just looking at it for... I was under the impression that I accidentally had the Firekeeper Soul from the lady at Firelink Shrine, which I did not. And I wanted to make sure I didn't accidentally use that. So I'm going to feed him some stuff here. Most of the items you have aren't worth many souls at all, but there are a few that are. You see the Dragon King Great Axe there, that's worth 5,000. Since I'm not going to use it, I fed it to him. And, you know, it'll vary depending on your build and whatnot, what you want to keep, what you don't want to keep. But some of the stuff's worth a decent amount of souls, and it can be a nice boost to get rid of the things that you're probably not going to use. But once you're done talking to him, there's really nothing else to do. You can feed him Titanite chunks and get shards from them. I really wish I would have remembered this before I farmed all those green Titanite shards in Blighttown, because I could have just fed him a blue Titanite chunk and gotten some green Titanite shards. It was really stupid on my part, would have saved me a lot of time, but oh well, what can you do? Alright, you see we're back here with Petrus. Petrus' friends have arrived. If you've talked to him throughout the game, you know he was waiting for somebody. They're here now. I'm not really talking to him for the quest. I'm talking to him to buy Homeward, which is a miracle that replaces the Homeward Bone, if you can use it. It can be very useful. Yeah, but if you're interested in the story, you can talk to the folks here. You will meet them later on as well in a different area that I'm not going to tell you about yet. But once you've gone through, bought what you want to buy, you can move on. I made a cut here because you had to run all the way back to the Undead Parish, and the video is already long enough as it is. I didn't feel like you needed to watch me do that. But we just went back to Andre and the Undead Parish using our elevator shortcut, and I upgraded my mace to a Divine Mace finally, and then upgraded it to +5 using all my green Titanite shards. And now I'm actually going to be able to do some damage. But you see, I also bought some Titanite shards while I was here, because I'm going to upgrade my Morning Star. You really want to have, no matter what your build, you really want to have at least one weapon that you upgrade along the normal path that you can use. Because there are going to be enemies that are resistant to the damage type you're using, eventually, no matter what damage type it is. And you want to have that physical weapon to back you up. Right now, you see I'm looking at the stats here, I have 150 magic, plus 55 due to my face scaling. 122 physical, plus 8 due to strength scaling, which is very, very poor. That's a lot of damage that I just added on top of my mace. But eventually I'm going to run into somebody who's just resistant to magic. And if that happens, I'm going to need a backup. So I have the Morning Star here. It does more physical damage, less overall damage, but it does more physical, and it still has the bleed. So when I do run into an enemy that I need to switch up for, I have a backup weapon. And if you're playing through and you're planning on using an enchanted weapon, I do recommend you get something leveled up alongside it. Whatever weapon you feel comfortable with. Now you see I put Power Within into my attunement slot along with Homeward. I forgot to actually go back to Laurentius and pick up my Pyromancer's Glove, which was kind of stupid of me. I really wasted all that time going to save him just to leave him there. So I can't actually use Power Within yet, but you do want to get it. and slot it for the eventual time when I get it, but I don't have it right now. I also changed my clothes a little bit. The robes I'm wearing have a little bit more defense, and I'm going to quit here. This was actually the end of the playthrough for Blighttown, and it was late at night, and I was done for the evening, and I was going to start again the next day. So now we're starting up and running on again. But I switched my clothing a little bit. I'll do one more switch later on. But you want to have as best armor as you can. I mean, it's not a huge difference, but once I upgrade it, it'll be a difference. We'll notice it. First things first, when we walk into Sen's Fortress, you see I didn't step forward. There's a pressure plate that I just stepped on right there. When you step on that, this arrow trap that's in the back there will fire off, and well, if those enemies are in front of it, it'll hit them. If they're not, it'll go towards you. You can block them with your shield. It won't do any damage to you. It won't even do any stamina damage to you. But you can use it to your advantage if you're aware of it. You also noticed right off the bat that my Divine Mace is doing way more damage than my regular old crappy mace was doing before. It's really nice to have an actual weapon. Too long without it. Way too long. You see down below me there is a Titanite demon. I kill him here, but I don't think I ever actually go down to get the items he picks up. So I kind of wasted my lightning spears. You can get down to that area, and I actually go down there later. But admittedly, I had never been down there before prior to this playthrough, so I didn't really know how to get to all the bottom areas. And with how long the playthrough was getting, I didn't want to continue looking around. So I'm going to visit the lower area, but I'm not going to visit all of it. And on your playthrough, you might want to do a little more exploring, because there are some items down there. I don't know all their names, but at the very least, you might want to kill the Titanite demons and grab their souls and their items. You see, I switched to my throwing knives in the hopes that I could throw enough to kill him, because he had like a sliver of health left. And I didn't want to waste another lightning spear on the guy. But I failed, so I had to. And that's that. All for nothing, really. I mean, I suppose 2,000 souls is okay, but all in all, I would have been better off just leaving them there, I think. Now, if you haven't noticed already, Sen's Fortress is really just a big giant trap. That's what it is. It's made to annoy you, to frustrate you. See, I'm looking up to the right there. There's a guy who'll throw lightning down at you. If you get down under this bridge, though, he can't hit you. But Sen's Fortress is really, it's all about perseverance. There are only a few enemies in here. There aren't that many enemies, but the traps on top of the enemies can just frustrate you to no end, especially if you don't know what's coming. So my suggestion is, 1, watch the playthrough, and then 2, when you're going through, take it slow. I mean, you understand, I know where everything is, I know what I'm getting into. None of these traps are surprising me. But if you're going through, you want to take it slow, and really be careful. The environment gives you clues. It always gives you a clue as to what's coming next. So just be ready. So yeah, take that guy out. You don't have to kill that guy from here, because when we go up these stairs soon, we'll be finding him. And we could have killed him there. Right here, I entertain the thought of jumping down. I don't know if you can see it on the video or not, but below me, in shadows, there are a couple enemies. And it's a decent drop. I would have lived, for sure. But there's 3 enemies below me, and I wasn't confident that if I did drop, that I could fend off all 3 of them. So I looked around to see if there was a better way to get down. I couldn't really find anything. And I actually ended up finding the way down later on in the playthrough. But that was just me trying to figure it out. I actually make a backtrack here, because I really did want to find the way down. I wanted to show you guys what was going on, but I failed hardcore. And I'm actually going to speed it up here, because I don't think you want to watch me run around for another minute or so. Super speed Wither. Alright, so we're done with that. We gave up. No, that's not a secret wall. That was the final desperation attempt. I thought maybe, just maybe that was a secret wall, but it's not. So we gotta run across the top. If you didn't kill that mage, be very careful up here, because he'll be slinging lightning balls at you. We have another trap. See, 3 arrows. All the arrow traps shoot in 3s. So after the 3rd one, you're fine. Get some large titanite shards. Very useful if you're going up the normal path for your weapon. You need large titanite shards to go 6 to 10. Plus 6 to plus 10. I see in this room here, there's a guy down there. He's actually sleeping. We're not going to go mess with him right now, because we don't need to. We'll get him later on. You see, here's the first hint of the boulders that are running through Sen's Fortress. And the boulders are not the most dangerous part of Sen's Fortress, but the most annoying, I think. Because if you get caught out in the open fighting an enemy, it can spell your doom, one, because the boulder can run you over. And if it doesn't kill you, it'll probably throw you down and leave you far away from your goal. And it's just annoying. So you want to be careful in any area where boulders are falling down, and try to time it so that you get the enemies in safe spots. Now you see I'm pushing this guy inside here. Don't want to fight him outside, because that boulder will fall on my head. The item in here is really not all that useful. This Ring of Steel Protection gives you minor increase to physical defense, but not enough to really be worth your time. But if you don't come up here, this guy will chase you down, which can come up behind you and surprise you. I'm not going to run back down quite yet. I'm going to go down here. See, I fell down. This is the Shotel. This is what Lautrec was using. And I've never personally used it, but it can be a useful weapon. I know PvPers kind of like it because it ignores shields with one of its attacks. So if you're interested in getting one, that's where you get it. We're talking to Siegmeier here. Or Siegmeier, sorry. I always forget that it starts with a Z. If you've been following his storyline, you can talk to him. Actually, right when you get to Andre, the blacksmith, you can go down that path and he'll be sitting down in front of Sen's Fortress, which isn't open at the time. And you can kind of get a little bit of backstory on him there. This is the 2nd time you meet him here, and there are more places you can meet him later on. Also, I'm really not sure what killed these serpent guys here. In every other playthrough I've ever done, these guys have been alive when I come down. I don't know why they're dead. The only thing I can think of, I didn't talk to Siegmeier the first time through. Maybe if you don't talk to him, he kills him. That's really all I can think of. I don't know why they're dead. Usually they're alive, though. And if they are alive, you need to be very careful when you're fighting them. Because 1, they can hit Siegmeier. And 2, while you're trying to hit them, you might hit Siegmeier. Neither of them are good outcomes, so be very careful if they are alive. I don't know what I thought I was doing there. I started running back up, but that's not the way we need to go. We need to go in here. Alright, so we're through the first boulder area. We have another trap here. This trap actually fires from behind us. You see, I'll step on it here in a second. I jumped out of the way, and I got another trap kill. Go me. Go WitherWords. Alright. Careful when you're going through this area. It is possible to run into this boulder from behind. That is, the boulder can be in front of you and you run into it. If that happens, it'll treat it as if you took the full force of the blow. So you want to be very careful in that room. Let it stay in front of you and just chase it down, essentially. Here we have our first mimic of the game. Now, I don't know if you can see this on the screen, but the chain that comes off the chest, it's pointing forward rather than kind of curled back like most of them. This is one of the ways you can tell that it is a mimic. The other way is that if you pay close attention to them, they actually breathe a little bit. But really, best practice is to do what I'm going to do. Two-hand your weapon, and every single chest you come to in the game, just wail away at it. Most of the time, you'll just bounce off, and that's your cue that it's not a mimic, it's an actual chest, and you can safely loot it. But it's much better to be safe than sorry, because if you do open a mimic chest without triggering him to kind of rise up, you will get eaten. Probably won't kill you, but it'll take a very good chunk of your damage, and there's no point to that. You see, he dropped the lightning spear. The lightning spear is a lot of new players use it when they get here. It's an easy to find, powerful weapon. It would be weaker than my divine mace, because I've actually put some work into upgrading my weapon. But a lot of new players come here and they haven't really upgraded anything, and they get the spear, and it can be really useful because it does a good amount of damage for essentially no input. And it also does lightning damage, which, if you're fighting a mob that's weak to lightning, it's not a bad idea to have it on you. Now you see, we came to the mechanism that controls the boulders. We switched it to the middle there, and we sent that boulder flying down. I don't know if you can see it on the screen or not, but way down there, a new path opened up because the boulder got shoved through it. So we opened that path. Now we're going to push this all the way back over, and we're going to run down that path to go through our new area. Now, if you're going down this way, and you have the master key, you can do exactly what I'm going to do. However, if you don't have the master key, you need a different key that we'll get later on to be able to open these. So you might want to skip ahead to the point where I get back up to the boulder mechanism. There's really no point coming down here until you have the cage key. But if you have the master key like I do, you can come in and open all these doors anyways. This is Big Hat Logan. This is the first time we meet him. He's sort of the master sorcerer of the game. He will teach you some very powerful sorceries, and he has a quest line too, like most of the NPCs in the game. And I'm not going to go through the quest line, and we're not going to even see part of it really, because I'm not interested in his sorceries. But you can find guides to it. In fact, the easiest guide is probably on the Dark Souls wiki. It'll give you a full run through, and it'll tell you exactly what's going on. But this is where we first meet him, and you have to unlock him to get the quest started, I believe. So, if you're interested in that, you need to come down here. You see, I was once again trying to figure out how to go down. It was really frustrating me. I really did want to get down there, and I knew there was a way. I knew it. But I could not for the life of me figure out where that way started. So I looked around, couldn't find it. So I'm just going to do a speed up here to get us back up to the boulder mechanism. And I will figure out one way down later. I don't know if this way that I end up coming to is the actual best way, but it's a way that I figured out, and it works, so hey, you know. First things first, once we've come down here for the second time, you'll notice that the wall at the end here is broken away. The boulders stack on top of each other eventually, falling down this hole. And once enough of them fall down, the last boulder will break through the wall. And that'll open up a new area, within which is the covetous gold serpent ring. This ring can be absolutely vital to any sort of farming run you're intending to do. If there's certain weapons, certain items, certain armor you really want, and you are going to farm mobs for them, or even worse, you only have one shot at getting them, like say a Black Knight, you want this ring, because it essentially doubles your item discovery. It gives you 200 or 210 item discovery, which is twice what you get with 10 humanity. And if you're doing any sort of farming, you want that. Also, when we go up that elevator, which I sped through there, make sure you get off as soon as you can. If you don't, it'll keep going up and lead you right into a spike trap, which is not cool. You don't want to do that. So we turn the mechanism once more. We're going down the far side. We're going to jump down here. You might have seen this when we were running through. This guy was above us when we were running through the boulder that went down. We were running behind it. This is not a secret area, but it's an optional area. You don't have to go down this way. You can completely leave this alone and keep going through Sen's Fortress. But I'm trying to show you guys where some of the cool items are, so we're going through. Also, keep in mind, when you move the boulder mechanism, more often than not, it resets once you go a certain amount, a certain distance from the mechanism room. And so always expect the boulders to be there, even if you've turned the mechanism. Better to be safe than run over by a boulder. So we jumped out this window here. We're running around. At the end of the walk here is, I think, the Slumbering Dragon Crest Ring. I think it's the Slumbering. We'll pick it up here and find out. It is. Yeehaw. Slumbering Dragon Crest Ring makes you give off no noise when you're running. When you combine this with Hush, or not Hush, sorry, Ring of Fog, or I think there's a sorcery that has sort of works like that too. But if you combine them, you can almost become invisible and kind of like sneak through the game, sort of. That's really just for fun. I mean, it doesn't really help you all that much, but if you were just looking to do something fun, you could do that. Slumbering Ring can be helpful for sneaking up on enemies that have their backs turned to you, because you can run right up to them and just hit them in the back. You see there's a Titanite demon waiting down there. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I do know that I finally made it to the bottom here, if you're wondering. This is the bottom of Sen's Fortress, and this was the only way I could figure out how to get down, dropping down these areas. I don't know if there's another way. There probably is, but this is the way I found. I equipped the Rusted Iron Ring. If you don't, the area I'm standing in right now is sort of like tar, and you'll have trouble because you won't be able to move right. So you want to equip the Rusted Iron Ring if you're coming down here. So I'm trying to be careful with this Titanite demon. You see he's taking a lot of damage now from my mace. That's a lot of damage there, 148 a Titanite demon. That's a good chunk. They don't usually take that much damage with regular weapons, so that was nice to see. It was kind of a little bonus for me. I got the Titanite catch pole. I've heard people really seem to like that. I've never used it myself. But I also got a scythe, and the scythe is really a cool weapon. I've seen some people do like death builds where they kind of roleplay being death, and I think it's pretty cool. So I'm coming down to another little area here. There's an item at the end, as you saw. There's also some enemies above me. There's a path down that way. I didn't go down that way. I don't know if there's anything at the end or not. I would imagine probably, but who's to say? I'm not sure. I just got out of there because the run was getting long, and there's still a ways to go. So we're going to the top of the ladder. Now, I've done a little bit of reading since this playthrough, and I'm under the impression that at the top of this ladder there's a secret wall that will lead you out to another area. And I'm assuming it's that one right in front of me. I didn't find it. I don't know if this is the right area or not, but from the reading I did, it kind of sounded like the right area. But if you'll notice, we're right back at the beginning of Sen's Fortress now, and I'm going to do a speed up here because we've already been through this area, and we know where to go. So we're going to try to get there as fast as we can. I'd also point out that for whatever reason, the traps seem to reset. I don't know why. I don't know what triggered that. But if you're doing a run and kind of following the same pattern as I am, just keep that in mind. The traps might reset while you're going through. I do know if you use a bonfire they reset. So just keep that in mind. Alright, I'm turning the mechanism one last time. I don't actually need to do this. You don't need to turn the mechanism to go up here, but I just did it because I really wasn't thinking. But we're now leaving the mechanism room, finally being free of those stupid boulders. And we're trying to ascend to the top of Sen's fortress. But we're not quite there. There's still plenty of traps to go. This trap right here, I've seen a lot of people make the mistake of trying to slowly walk through it. There's not enough room to do that. There's not enough room between the two blades that swing to walk slowly. You'll get knocked off. You just need to charge straight through full speed to get to the other side. See, we got a couple more guys to kill. Be very careful when you're fighting those guys with 4 arms there. They do bleed damage whenever they hit you, and that can stack up really fast. Alright, finally dead. And that's the last of the lizard men, I believe. Thankfully. They're not hard, but they can get very annoying. And if you take one hit from their Man-Serpent Greatsword, it can do a pretty good chunk of damage. But thankfully we are... Oh, you know what? Actually, we're not done with him. This guy right here. This guy. Oh, this guy. This guy has killed me so many times. I hate this guy. He just sits there and he throws his lightning balls at you, and if he hits you at an angle, it'll knock you off. See, there's another trap here. But if you have like pyromancy or really anything that can knock this guy off before you get to him, I suggest you do it. Because, he is so annoying. Anger. But yeah, oh well. See, I'm using heal here. I'm beginning to think heal's really not that useful of a miracle. Not because... Well, you know what, I shouldn't say that. Maybe if you're a new player, it is... Maybe you're going through your Estus Flask too fast. But I find the better I get at the game, the less Estus I use. And heal just becomes something that's taking up a slot, really. It's not fast enough to ever really be used in a boss fight or anything. So, I don't know. I'm thinking of replacing it. We're going outside. First things first, I'm going to the right. If you're playing, you don't have to go to the right. There's nothing over here but an item. I'm just going to show you what it is. You have to kill 2 Balder Knights. They're about as easy as the other Balder Knights you fought. They have a little more health, but they go down quick. I was hoping one would drop the Balder Side Sword, because I'd like to upgrade that, but I'd like to get it and upgrade it, I should say. But unfortunately, they did not. It's the Flame Stone Plate Ring there. Ups your fire defense. It doesn't up it very much, but this one actually has some uses because there are a few bosses that do flame damage, and it can be helpful to have extra flame defense. But yeah, that's where it is if you want it. You see, right above me here, pointing up, see that giant standing up there? You're about to get a deep-seated hatred for that guy. Because as soon as we ascend these stairs, he's going to start throwing bombs at us. And he's going to keep throwing bombs at us until we go kill him. See, I jumped down there, got this bonfire. I recommend you do that right away. That should be the first thing you do when you come here. Run up the stairs, run to the up the second set of stairs, then run to the right, and fall down. Don't keep running. If you keep running, you can overshoot it. But just fall down and right into the bonfire, because it's a good chance that you could die up here. It's easy to fall off this area. You see, I used a bunch of my souls. I had a ton of souls saved up. I don't know where I got all of them. But I had like almost 30,000 souls worth of souls saved up. So I popped all those, upgraded my robe a little bit, got a couple levels. You couldn't see it there, but I upgraded my faith a little more. When you upgrade your faith now, because my weapon scales with faith, I now get more damage with my weapon every time I add points to faith. And that will have diminishing returns, and I'll stop at a certain point. Let me see. That guy's still throwing bombs. Once you start running, you really need to not stop until you get to a safe area. There are items along the way, but I suggest you skip them until you kill the guy up top. It's not worth it to die for that one large soul, trust me. We're running down the edge here. There's a Black Knight at the end. Obviously, my Lightning Spear makes quick work of him, but you do need to be careful if you're a melee, because that one's quite a bit tougher than the one you found in the parish, and he hits quite a bit harder. But the reason we're going this way is because at the end, there are a couple items, and because this guy right here, who just shot an arrow down at us, his name is Ricard, and he gives 4,000 souls to us if we kill him. And it's not a lot of souls by any means, but why not, you know? Why not go kill him? You do need to be careful, though. This guy likes to sit back and try to parry you, and he has a special rapier. It's his rapier, Ricard's rapier. And if he gets a parry on you, he'll stab you in the chest, and it will do a lot of damage. So you need to be careful if he goes into his little parry mode. Best thing to do is just block, and then once he's staggered himself, hit him, wash, rinse, repeat. No point getting crazy. So we got a Divine Blessing, very useful, and also a Rare Ring of Sacrifice. The difference between a Ring of Sacrifice and the Rare Ring of Sacrifice is the Rare Ring will keep you from being cursed as well. Which, honestly, there aren't many times where you're in danger of being cursed, but there is one area where you may want to think about putting it on, and I probably won't, but if I remember to, I'll try to mention it when I get there. See, I'm doing a little prayer. We're running into the major gauntlet now. This is the area where you need to just keep moving. Follow what I do, follow my path, keep moving. Don't stop until you get to a covered area. See what I got up here is a covered area? See, I'm safe in here. Well, safe except for this Balder Knight at the end. But he can't hit me with his fire bombs in here. And if you're running through and say you stop on the middle of the bridge for whatever reason and he hits you with a fire bomb, you're in trouble. So keep moving. You see that cage there? That cage was locked. That's a shortcut back to the beginning of Sen's Fortress. For the life of me, the only reason I can think of that it's there is for people who want to PvP. There's really no reason at all to come back to Sen's Fortress. So, the only reason I can think that it's there is for PvPers who want to come back and get up to the top of the tower or something. But once you get the cage key, you can return and flip that, and the cage will open up and allow you to go down. See, we're running up into the top tower there. I ran across. I'm going to summon Iron Tarkus. Iron Tarkus is probably the coolest NPC summon, because one, he just does just an insane amount of damage with his sword, and two, he can be summoned in an area where people like to invade a lot, and it's a fairly common tactic for Sen's Fortress defenders to go summon him and then get invaded, and they'll just pretty much let Iron Tarkus take out the invader by himself. But I summoned him just to show you where he is. As you see, he has almost killed this giant by himself. This is the firebomb guy. When you kill this guy, he won't respawn. So once he's dead, you never have to worry about the firebombs again. I recommend killing him. The Iron Golem, who is the last boss of the area, isn't hard, so it's very likely you'll beat him in one shot. But on the off chance you do die, like I'm going to, you want to kill him, the Golem up top here. Also, I guess I forgot to mention, and probably most importantly, if you don't kill him, he'll throw firebombs down at you while you're fighting the Iron Golem. Now, admittedly, that'll make the fight a lot more interesting, but it'll also make it unnecessarily hard. I'm running down to the edge of this walkway here. You see that broken place right in front of me? If you take a running jump across that, you can make it. And on the other side is a merchant. And at the bottom of that tower on the other side is the gate key, the cage key, sorry, that would open that cage and would also open Big Cat Logan's cage if you get it. So that's where you have to go. You can also, if you jump to the right, go to that guy who's dropping the boulders and kill him. But he respawns, so if you kill him and die, the boulders are still going to be there because he respawns every time. So I don't bother killing him usually, but it's up to you. So we're fighting the Iron Golem. This is the last, well, not the last, but the only boss of Sentin's Fortress. And he's the big baddie. He's pretty cool looking. The strategy for him is really fairly simple. Get behind him and hit his legs. And don't do what I do, which is get grabbed and thrown. He telegraphs his grab. See, I died there. I tried to heal when I should have been blocking. It was a bad move. He telegraphs his grab. He'll kind of like lean back and throw down his hand. If you get directly behind him and kind of back up a little ways, you can't be right under his feet because he can still grab you if you're under his feet. But if you back up a little ways, he'll miss you every time. And it's fairly easy to avoid. See, we're looking up there. Mr. Golem is gone. We can safely traverse the area. We're going to pick up those items that we ran past on the way back. Get a large soul of a brave warrior. Not worth a whole lot, but may as well pick it up. Also large titanite shards. But the Iron Golem himself, if you can get behind him and stay behind him, is fairly easy. I guess I should admit, this is actually the first time I've ever died to the Iron Golem. Prior to this playthrough, I had never died to him before. And really the reason I died is because the hammer weapon I'm using, it's so slow that it's hard to recover if you miss. And the next death is because I tried to hit him. I missed and got caught in that long animation, which gets me killed. But I see I jumped across the gap there. I'm going to show you where the gate key is. The cage key. Cage key. Not the gate key. The cage key. I don't know what the gate key would do. Probably open a gate. But there are no gates in Sentin's Fortress, so we need the cage key. And jump and fall. I've never made that jump back. I don't know. Maybe it's not possible to. But I've never made it, so careful on your way back. There's a good chance to fall. Running back up, running back up. Let's go fight the Iron Golem again. I'm going to leave it sped up because I do die again. And also because I think the battle music when it's sped up is really funny. Reminds me of some sort of 8-bit Nintendo boss battle. See, I got grabbed again. I deserve to die here. But the strategy when you're fighting the golem, get behind him. You want to... I don't recommend locking onto him because it can kind of be hard to realize, to see where you are. You see, I got thrown off his tower there, and that killed me. And we're just gonna cut out and go straight to the next fight. And I will kill him on this one if you're watching the video, so don't worry. That was the last time you had to see me die. But once you're behind the Iron Golem, don't lock onto him. If you do lock onto him, you can find yourself dead because you back off a corner and you just didn't realize you were there. See, I got grabbed again. I was just sucking it up through this playthrough. See, he did his little grab there. He went through his legs. That's why I say don't stand directly beneath him, because he'll do that grab and he will actually still grab you. But when you're behind him, you want to aim at his legs. Preferably focus on one if you can. Uh, Once you hit enough times, and I think I'll do it here. Once you hit him enough times, you will stagger him. He will sort of like, it almost looks like he gets drunk all of a sudden and he'll just start wobbling around, and he'll look like he's getting ready to fall over. And when that happens, some people make the mistake of continuing to wail on that leg. Once you've staggered him, you actually want to move to the other leg. Once you move to the other leg, you can hit it a few times and he should fall over. See, he's in a really bad spot right now though, because I can't really get behind him. But now we are. Alright, see, he's staggering now. He's kind of going back and forth. I hit him a couple times there, and he falls over. This is free damage. Every time, he's not getting up yet for a little bit, so every time you hit him, you're just adding to the counter, and there's nothing to worry about. But he will get up eventually. See, he does this jump back occasionally as well. I don't know what triggers it, but occasionally he'll just jump back. And I've seen him actually jump off the platform before, which is kind of funny. It's a free 40,000 souls. He's almost dead here. One last lightning spear, and that's it. Yeehaw, we beat him. Yay, Iron Golem dead. Shouldn't take you 3 times to kill him. I just really sucked it up on this playthrough. But he's dead. WitherWords is victorious. Got 40,000 souls for my trouble. I'm going to pop the other one I have. Once he's dead, and you're done with Sen's Fortress, you go to the little light in the middle here, and click on it. And enjoy a cutscene. See, they're raising you up to the giant wall up top that you've probably noticed before. And look at that, ain't that beautiful? That is pretty. Looks even better in-game where you can actually see everything, rather than the awful contrast of a YouTube video. This is Anor Londo. This is the city of the gods. Not that any of them are actually left. There's only one god left in the area, but this is their city. Right above the Undead Burg, which leads me to believe the Undead Burg was more of a poor, outcast, social class area, more than it was necessarily like a prison for the undead or anything. Odds are it just became sort of a prison as the undead went insane. But once you're in Anor Londo, you just do what I'm doing, keep running. Don't engage those knights. Not yet, at least. There's no point to it. They will become hostile once you go to the bonfire over here, but there's no point in engaging them prior to the bonfire. So we're going to rest at the bonfire here, and we're going to end the video. So we made it through Sen's Fortress, and we're about to trek into Anor Londo, which is actually a fairly easy area, but it's also my favorite area in the game, because it's so cool, you know? It's a really cool area. I wish it was longer, actually. But we'll do that next time. Sorry for the video running so long, but Sen's Fortress, I wanted to make sure you guys saw everything in Sen's Fortress, at least everything that I could show. And hopefully gives you some ideas when your playthrough, so you don't get stuck there like I did my first time through. Man, that was a pain in the butt. But hopefully it helps you guys out. And next time we come through, we'll be going through Anor Londo, ready to take on some really interesting enemies. So until next time, folks, I'm WitherWords, signing off.